Welcome everyone to a brand new episode of the Spotlight is on podcast. My name is Jacob Potomio. I'm your host. We're trying a different angle today. Instead of me being in front of the camera, I'm just gonna show my guest. And so, just introduce yourself to everyone.
My name is Kelly Jones, and I live in Raton. I'm a juvenile probation officer, but I do a lot with the arts in Raton and Trinidad.
Nice. And you can hold the mic too, because I'm not sure if audio is gonna pick it up. Sometimes it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we are here at the Schuler Theater in Raton, which, as you know, holds a lot of plays here in town, and I think movies. Right? They sometimes hold movies.
They used to show movies. Yeah, they're probably going to do that again someday too. Yeah.
Nice. So, when I contacted you, I saw you're an actress, right? So, what have you done, like movies, or just done like plays or whatever, or like what have you done?
Just local plays and musicals, both in Trinidad and in Raton, for over a decade. But we just finished Annie in Trinidad, and we through Main Street Live, we did it at the Masari Theater because it has more seats and it was a bigger cast of 37. So we did Annie there. And before that, I did Sound of Music at Main Street Live, and I was Maria. I was Miss Hannigan in Annie, so I got to be the bad guy, and then I also got to be the good guy in Sound of Music. And I can't remember the last thing I did here. It was probably Christmas Carol or something along those lines. But
So, like, take me just like the process of putting on a play, like from you being in it. Like, do they give you a script? Like, what is your process of like preparing for a role?
I think it depends the role that you want to try out for, I guess. But I've always been the good guy in every play I've ever been in, every musical. And so when they said they were doing Annie, I thought, and I've done Annie here before actually, and I was a good guy. And so then this time I was like, I really want to do something different. And it was kind of out of my comfort zone. So I had to really think about how I wanted to portray myself as, Miss Hannigan's kind of a drunken, floozy of a person. And she's just really depressed with her situation. And so it wasn't something I was used to playing on stage, but I got some props and I practiced in front of mirrors and I practiced in front of my kids. And my kids also tried out for Annie and got into Annie as well. So I think it's just like really thinking about what that character normally is portrayed as, and then maybe give it a little bit of your own flair if you want. So like for Miss Hannigan, she's normally more of a, I don't know how to, when you see her in the movies, she's more of like kind of a movie star type, wannabe type character. Whereas I was more of like, I looked in the mirror at one point and I felt like I looked like some kind of an older gym teacher or something. But I was more gruff, like a tomboy type character, just because I didn't feel like, she was real super girly, I guess. And so I kind of took it a different direction a little bit, but it was good. Half the cast were my children when I was Maria in Sound of Music. So it was a totally different relationship I had with them. Like I was the good mom and kind of that kind of figure. And then in Annie, I'm like just always angry at the orphans. And so it was really funny actually, because the kids were like, it's so hard to be mad at you because we know you're not like that. But yeah, then they give you the script. For me, I like to write all my lines out in order, like on flashcards to kind of memorize them. And then you just work the music separately with the music director, and then you kind of just try and put it together. And then you do your best to be memorized and off book by the time you need to be off book so you don't get in trouble. But it's community theater too, so none of the actors and actresses are getting paid for it. They're all doing it for the joy of doing it and for the applause. So we're all working full-time jobs during the day and then we go do that at night.
Mhm.
So it's kind of exhausting, honestly, but it's fun. It's worth it. It's like, it's what I went to school for. So it's nice to be able to use that talent where I can.
Oh yeah, definitely. So like, take me, I guess, behind the whole process, before this. So like, do you guys do rehearsals for stuff, or?
Yeah. So at Main Street Live Theater in Trinidad, typically the rehearsals are upstairs. There's a couple floors upstairs. They have a lot of space so that you can choreograph and really stretch out, especially with such a big cast. And sometimes if you just have a solo or duet, you just work one-on-one or with the music director on their own. In this case, it was Vinnie Gumlick and his wife, Virginia Gumlick, was the overall director. So you would kind of bounce back and forth between the two of them doing music and then going and practicing choreography. And but yeah, usually the rehearsals would be upstairs. And then we did a couple rehearsals at Masari Theater so we could kind of get used to the space because it was a much bigger space than Main Street Live's. It's smaller. I wouldn't say it's a black box theater, but it's like the Isabel Castillo has, but it is a smaller stage. So then you take that and you transfer it to the big stage, and that takes a little bit of getting used to as well. So, but yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. Many days and hours.
Mhm. Do you do anything, I guess, like behind the scenes when it comes to these plays?
I haven't done a lot lately, but I've told Sarah Kowalski that I would help her by doing music for Christmas Carol.
Mhm.
And I did, it's been a while, but I music directed for Church Basement Ladies a long time ago here. But I don't really do much directing or anything behind the scenes in Trinidad, mostly on stage there. And then here I can do more behind the scenes stuff.
So is there a difference between, the process of putting on a play here in Raton compared to Trinidad, or is it very similar?
I think, they're pretty similar in general. I think a lot of the rehearsing here happens next door at the Isabel Castillo building. And then eventually they bring it here. So that's similar.
Mhm.
I guess it's like at Main Street Live where you're practicing upstairs and then you bring it downstairs to the stage. And Christmas Carol is usually a ginormous cast as
Mhm.
well. So it's kind of tricky sometimes to find scheduling. I mean, that's definitely a tough spot because if you have kids involved, kids are at school usually. Not during the summer, obviously, but like for Christmas Carol, all the kids will have been in school and adults will probably be at a job all day. And then you have to work around everybody's schedules and holidays and basketball games and volleyball
Yeah.
games and all the things. So I know scheduling is kind of hard sometimes, but yeah, I think in general the rehearsing is pretty similar in both. Yeah, Calexico.
Yeah.
Mm.
Is there so like, like with films and television, there's always a director or a showrunner that's in charge of these projects, and it's each person is very different, their style of directing or whatever. Is it, I'm not sure if you guys have directors here, or when it comes to plays, is it similar, like their style, I guess, of?
I think every director has their own unique style
Mhm.
for sure. And it's interesting that you say that because some directors are more, maybe they've come from a professional background and they have certain expectations and they're more strict or concrete and straightforward about everything. And then you have other directors who might be more laid back.
Mhm.
And, you know, it's tough being a director because you care about and you love everybody in your cast,
Mhm.
but also, sometimes you've got to be firm and tell them this is what you need to do, because the director has a vision of how it's going to look.
Yeah.
And they want you to fit that vision the best that you can. But, in community theater, it's can be sometimes difficult because you might have somebody who went to school for that, like theater or music, and then they're next to somebody who is just a community member who just wanted to give it a shot and,
Yeah.
and took a chance and was brave, and they got in. And so there's like kind of a big learning curve between the two. Not to say that one's better than the other, because they're, all of our community is really talented. So it's just like figuring out how to work with different kinds of people, and trying not to like hurt people's feelings, but also like trying to get them what you want to do. So, but yeah, I think there's a lot of differences in all of our directors between the two states. Just and most directors know most of the community too anyway.
Yeah.
So you've known them maybe since they were this big, and now they're, an adult, and you're still directing them. So, but yeah, everybody's got their own personality and their own vision of how they want things to look.
Yeah, I know. Like with me, since I'm getting in the directing, I'm very more laid back, with my actors, and I give them freedom to, do improv, but also I do want them to kind of stick to the script, or what exactly I have in my head. But then going to another project that I'm not in charge of, and seeing how other people direct and is more strict, and I'm like, oh, maybe I wouldn't do it like that. But also it's it's not my project, and maybe their style works best for them. So it is really cool going from different project to different project, and seeing the different styles that these directors have, and it is really cool.
Yeah.
The end the end vision, I guess, when the project is done. So
Right.
mhm.
Yeah, I think you need to find a good balance between business and having those relationships where the actors trust your direction, so that they'll do their absolute best for you.
And so get me into your last play that you did recently. I know you were posting about it this past weekend.
Yes, we did Annie the musical over in Trinidad, through Main Street Live, but we were allowed to use the Masari Theater on the Trinidad State campus, and it was really nice because it's a really big space, and so it's kind of cool. I think when we did Sound of Music a few years back, we were at the Main Street Live Theater, which was fine. It was a good space, but we had like 9 sold out shows, and so I think the idea was maybe if we had more seats available, like the Schuler or Masari, we could get more people in, and maybe less shows, because 9 was a lot for the kids that were involved. It was tiring, but it was completely worth it. It was an amazing show, but Annie was fabulous. We have a lot of talented kiddos that were involved in Annie from all over, and a lot of them have been in other productions like Sound of Music, or they've been in the children's choir in Trinidad. So a lot of talented kids, a couple that had never done anything before in their lives, and they just were awesome. So, and then the adults, I would say the majority of the adults involved have been in the theater, either here at the Schuler or Main Street Live, for a long time, like me, like decades. Laura Crummer, or Laura Robinson from here, and Becky Woods from Raton as well. But just a wide range of ages of adults who just love theater and love to be on stage, and some newbies too who did a fantastic job. So, but yeah, Annie it was amazing. I'm really glad we did it.
And so how many shows did you do in total for it?
We only did 6 shows for Annie this time around, but yeah, we always had pretty decent audiences. There's only so many people that can fit into Main Street, so it was nice to be able to go over there and have that partnership with the college. And so, I think their hope is that hopefully we can maybe do one big show a year over there, and then keep the rest of them over at Main Street Live.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it's a lot of the talent that I find for my films are from here doing theater or plays, and it's easy because they already have that experience acting already,
Right.
But also that transition from being on stage with a live audience to going to a film set and being filmed on a camera and having to wait sometimes up to a year for people to give you that feedback. I know sometimes it does get kind of stressful for the actors, just because just getting that immediate feedback and
Right.
applause and then having to wait months and months to find out whether you did good or not. But no, the actors I've found the last few years from this area and from Trinidad, have all came from theater and plays, and it's really, really cool. Definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent in both towns.
Mhm.
And Raton, I mean, like I was saying, some of the kids have been in theater here since they were this tall. Like my girls, I have twins, Brady and Riley Jones, and they were on stage doing Christmas Carol when they were 2 years old. So, and now they're still doing theater, and one of them wants to go into music theater as her job someday. Now she's 12, and she's been in a ton of productions.
Mhm.
So it's really cool to have the opportunity for adults too, but also kids growing up in the
Yeah.
theater. I don't know if you got to see any of the shows with the kids in them recently.
Mhm.
The plays that the kids had written, it was just fabulous. They were so good, so talented, funny, and some of them are going into theater type professions. So it's pretty neat to see that coming out of our own hometown.
Yeah, definitely. I love it. I love that there's just a lot of talent, um, just here in this area, that
Mhm.
are going after their dreams and their goals or whatever.
Right.
And just me as a director, just getting to, because I write my own script, so I'm
Right.
really, I'm getting to, okay, who am I going to cast for this role? And there's so many people I can choose from, and it's just really cool, just working with different people, and it is definitely cool.
Right.
hmm And so I saw, you said you sing, you're a singer, or
Yeah, I went to school originally because I wanted to sing opera.
Mhm.
And I was very lucky in high school. I had a voice teacher and had a lot of good, solid music classes. I went to school in Colorado Springs at Rampart High School, and they had a really fabulous music program there. So I felt just very prepared to go to college for music. So I started there, and then I kind of did some, professional choirs and things in Denver, and but I decided to become a teacher. So I taught music for quite a while in Denver, Colorado Springs, and then here in New Mexico as well. Um, but yeah, I think, at some point when I decided to be a teacher, I kind of put the opera dreams on hold for a
Mhm.
while. And, I had kids and taught for a lot of years, a lot of different subjects. But, the Schuler, when I moved to New Mexico from Colorado, was like, oh, this is going to be amazing,
Yeah.
because there's all this community opportunity.
Mhm.
And they used to have choirs here too, adult choirs. So I was in everything I could possibly be in so I could get back into it. Um, so and uh, I'm, I have a job full time,
Mhm.
and I've got kids. So it's pretty busy, but we try whenever we can to get involved, and I try to get my kids involved as well. But it's kind of, even if you're not going like chasing your dreams, like which some people are,
Mhm.
and that's wonderful, and I wish them the best too. But also for those of us who are here doing just, your average everyday job, we also have that chance to have that joy as well. And it's really, that's what it's about. It's the
Yeah.
joy of doing that. So
Mhm.
yeah.
And so yeah, that's the, I guess, last question I have for you. The last one for the episode of the podcast, I always end it with my guess is, what are three things that you are grateful for?
Awesome. Um, well, I'm grateful for both theater companies here at the Schuler in Raton and Main Street Live in Trinidad, because they give me the chance to do what I love, and for my kids as well. They're just growing them. So I'm grateful that, they say it takes a village, and I think both Raton and Trinidad are great villages for raising kids and giving them those opportunities. Um, I'm thankful for the relationships and the community members, because we really have some awesome community members in both places, Calexico.
Mhm.
And I feel like, my kids and I are up and down that highway all the time. Like we split time evenly between the two towns,
Yeah.
but because we love them both. And so, I hope to see them continue working together on productions, because they have been doing that a lot lately, and it's nice. Gives everybody more opportunity. So yeah, I'm thankful for the theater opportunities. I'm thankful for the village that's helping raise my kids, and I'm thankful for those relationships that we gain in the theater and in music.
That's good. Yeah. Thank you for giving your time to being a guest on the podcast, and just, I guess, telling people or telling people that don't know you, who you are, and pretty much just what you do here. And so, yeah, thank you, Kelly.